some outsiders have come on in there and taken over the Malheur Wildlife Refuge, which of course is a federal program, protect wildlife, obviously. And they say they're doing it because they have differences of opinion with respect to federal policies on property and the like. The sheriff of Harney County feels that they come in there just to advance their political agenda. He says that they're using the people of Harney County. So let me tell you about what happened yesterday and then talk about what's going on at the Wildlife Refuge, and then I'll talk about terrorism, more generally. I got briefed yesterday by the head of the Portland FBI, Gregory Brutzing, and I'm a bit limited in terms of what I can say. I also sit on the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. My older child calls it the so-called Intelligence Committee. But I'm under a fair amount of limits in terms of what I can say publicly, but let me just kind of give you the outlines. The first is the FBI is the lead federal agency on it because of the Wildlife Refuge, and their principal focus right now has been to coordinate the Oregon State Police and the Harney County Sheriff's Office. And they are on it every minute. They are following this, very carefully. And my own judgment, based on a variety of discussions with law enforcement and local officials and our own community leaders there, is that we're probably in the early stages of this discussion. The Bundys are having press conferences. They had one yesterday. They had one, today. And I just want to give you my reaction in terms of how I see this. There is no question in rural Oregon, there is enormous economic hurt right now. Real and understandable concern about the economy and natural resources, policy, and the whole kind of economic challenge that affects, rural Oregon. I get that frustration. I get it loud and clear. It's why I'm starting the year having town hall meetings east of the mountains. Last night I was in Prineville. I said much the same thing I'm saying to you. I understand how frustrating it is, particularly when you see some of the job creation in Portland and Seattle and Denver and a bunch of the big cities, in the West. I understand how frustrating that is, and how frustrating it is that it seems that nobody in government listens or cares at all what happens in those communities. I just feel very strongly that the next step from that frustration should not be to walk off a cliff, to be misled off the cliff by some outsiders who are willing to take the law in their own hands. I think the focus ought to be on solutions and not standoffs. And that's what I heard last night in Prineville. So that's kind of my focus on the situation a couple of days in with respect to the militia and the Malheur Wildlife Refuge.